for that video of Pulitzer. So, best way to do that is to go to history. I don't know what I did here. Oh, there it is. That's funny. I love that. That was coming back. Mm-hmm. That's cool. We should record that for a song. Where's the history?
The dictator of Tomania, the conqueror of Austerlitz, the future emperor.
What? He says, Emperor, speak.
I can't. I must. It's our only hope.
We must speak. It's our only hope. Oh, here it is. Is it? It is that one. This is the one we're gonna play some of this. It's only 6 minutes long. This is the guy that invented that technology I told you about. Mm-hmm. These guys trying to make him look like he's telling a lie. It's a glaring statement on, it's like you're trying to tell me the sky's not blue.
Yeah.
Like this guy who invented the technology and he knows more about this stuff than everybody put together.
It's not my business.
You're gonna tell him he's full of shit. You don't know what he's talking about.
I should like to help everyone if possible.
Those guys went in and
Gentile, black man,
took down a factory
we all want
through
to
the thermostat.
Human beings are like that.
Through the connection to the internet for the
not by
thermostat.
each other's misery.
They dropped them.
We don't want to hate and despise one another.
They knocked it out.
In this world, there's room for everyone.
That's
The good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. We have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate. Only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery. Fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power. The power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason. A world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all meet.
Wow. I can't never listen to that without, as if it's for the first time. You are tuning in to Broadcast Deaf Media, Voices of Reason. All right, I'm going to dial in, let's dial in Gino. Free your mind, free your voice. I would probably take all those songs that we normally play and run them all through Audacity and get the same levels on all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, because this way I wouldn't have to toy with this thing. See how bass heavy that is? I can add some treble to it from here. God, I want to blast it so bad. Let's see. See how much fatter the signal got underneath? Like at the lower part of the signal?
Right.
I got another one of these that I want to put a Malcolm X speech in. Wow. Heavy times, man.
When we allow free speech, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every street and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing the words of the old Negro spirit. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Be of strong heart and be free of fear. The most powerful forces in the universe are not evil. I have all the system noises down, but when I dial Gino, I'm expecting that doing 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 doing. And then the first couple of, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hold on, I'm getting them right now. Is it? Can you uncover that camera, please? Yeah. I love that part right there.
Stand fast.
listening to the voices of reason and freedom at broadcast depth. Should I try calling Elton Ron? We need Elton Ron in here. Oh shit, he can't make it. Damn. Oh, this is the one that doesn't have the. Hold on, I'm gonna call Elton Ron. Let's see what happens. This is a different version. Oh no. Hey, do you have Ron's phone number? No, I can. That bass is so funky. Gino, man, it's so funny. All right, man, we understand, bro. Well, be sure. Wait. Be sure to tune in, though. I forget that I have to speak into the mic to get on the cell phone as well. All this shit's tied together pretty well now. It should start working better. I love the variation of the guitar variation. And the dude on that organ, that's that shit I like. Hey Ron, what are you doing? Can you fill in for Gino? Gino's got some issues he's dealing with. Can I call you in on Skype? Question mark. All right, after this song. Let me see. All right. See, if I had a camera switcher, I could just switch that camera to you. Then your face would be up there instead. What I could do is dial you in on Skype, but then there's too many levels to mess with. So we could have that ready if we ever needed to, you know. Yeah. That would be the thing to do, is put your face up somewhere up there, you know.
So many options.
No, but there's an option for every situation. That's what we're trying to get at, you know what I mean? It's like where we can somebody throws us a curveball, we just got to turn with it, because that's how live it is, man. Same as when we're playing music, which I can't wait to fucking do. Believe me, we got plenty to talk about. Well, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Oh no, that's our history. We might need that. I think Mama's home.
Come on, Mama. Come on.
She jumps from somewhere and hits the stairs, like it makes a lot of noise, so she knows I'm home.
What you doing, honey? What you doing?
Are you gonna come up here and mess everything up again? Okay. So, where do we start? Of course you are. And I have to turn off all. No, okay, stop. Oh boy. I just barely got it in there before she put her paw on it. Hide everything. Hide your children. I want to go start here because there's just really not a big topic. It's the main thing is that Sky News Australia was reporting a major leak containing a register with all the details of nearly 2 million CCP members has occurred, exposing members who are now working all over the world, including the United States, while also lifting the lid on how the party operates under Xi Jinping, says Sherry Markison. She said the leak it's a register with all the details of the Communist Party members, including their names. Oh my God, she's pulling the shit out of me. All the members, their names, their party position, birthday, national ID number, the ethnicity. It is believed to be the first leak of its kind in the world ever. Exposing the, hey, what are you doing? You can't do that. Come on. I thought we had to talk about that. And what's amazing about this database is not just that it exposes people who are members of the Communist Party and who are now living and working all over the world, from Australia to the US to the UK, but it's amazing because it lifts the lid on the party, how the party operates under president and chairman. And this is where they got the information that linked all the United States politicians, like, McConnell. There's a whole list of them. I mean, all the way down to Feinstein, which we've known that for years. What are you doing? You're just so funny. And so basically, it exposed the party branches, where they're embedded in the world's biggest companies, and even inside government agencies. The Communist Party branches have been set up inside Western companies, allowing the infiltration of those companies by CCP members, who, if called on, are answerable directly to the Communist Party, so to the chairman, to the president himself. So along with the personal identifying details of 1.95, almost 2 million Communist Party members from Shanghai, there was also the details of 79,000 branches. 79,000 branches? Many of them inside companies. And did you know that the Dominion Company was bought up?
Voter machine?
Huh? Yeah. And we're not even supposed to mention that in words, by the way, so I probably shouldn't say it again. But that company is directly tied to the CCP.
Wow.
And the thing is, oh man, I got to put this out of her reach because she just loves to rub on this thing. Sorry, people. Look at the spike it causes. Come on, honey, please. Just work with us here. I'll rub your nose. You stay off the mic. Man, I'm really sorry, everybody. So about the distraction here, but it also this is going to embarrass a lot of global companies. That's what it boils down to. They appear to have no plan in place to protect their intellectual property from theft, and these people that are in those companies, not only are they embedding them to do the will of the CCP, but they're also stealing technology, because that's what it's about. So that leads into my next little story here, because this I'm going to put the link in the description to this article and this news report from Sky News Australia. I get a lot of news from Australia and New Zealand. I got my little tricks and my own embedded people. And you should read it. You should listen to what these people have to say, because after that, when you hear about all our politicians that are tied to them, it won't seem so fantastic. You know what I mean? Like when you hear, oh, McConnell's married to someone who's directly connected to the CCP, you won't go, no, that can't be. How did we know? Well, we did know it. A lot of people did know this. I didn't know it, but a lot of people already knew about that. That's insanity, isn't it? And so this connects to this next story. So the link to the CCP will be in the show notes. And then, so now we go to this story about the elections. And this dude on Flashpoint had Jovan Pulitzer on. And that was the guy I showed you his testimony at the Georgia legislate. And you saw the guy is obviously not one to pull punches.
Right.
So the Secretary of State of Georgia or whatever, whoever he was, this imbecile, because that's what he is. He's an imbecile. I'm just going to call it what it is. You know me. I always want to talk around the issues. But this guy came on and did a news or a press conference where he called Jovan Pulitzer a liar. This is the guy that invented that technology. If he don't know what's going on with it, nobody does, dude. Everybody on earth who has a cell phone is using his technology right now.
Right.
The only people that aren't paying for it are the Waze people or whoever they are in China. They just stole it and are using it. Every cell phone in the world uses his. And so this guy also works with detection, for forensic computer work or whatever the hell he does. I mean, this guy's not an idiot. Let's just put it that way.
Amen. So
for a politician to come on TV and call him say that he doesn't know what he's talking about or he's lying, I don't know. Let's check it out. They can't see it. I'm going to put the link in the description, and we're going to listen to it along with you right now. Hopefully you can hear it. Let me know if you can hear it. But let's check it out. I don't think these guys will have a problem with us sharing.
I'll play a 52-second of Gabriel Sterling responding to that.
Man.
Watch.
Oh, yes. The other really fantastical thing we saw the other day was a potential hacking of Dominion equipment during a Senate hearing last week. That did not happen either. Let's go over a couple of reasons why. First of all, ballot marking devices
you can see
and
it, right?
scanners, neither one have modems. It's very hard to hack things without modems.
This guy's truly an imbecile.
So let's get that clear.
Truly an imbecile.
Poll pads, which is a no-ink device.
You can have a software modem now.
To Wi-Fi, which we use
There's software modems,
and in case there's an issue on election day, but
that's been for a long time.
All the time.
Wow.
And if they saw anything, they couldn't see traffic back and forth, but it would basically be like watching a river go by. You couldn't get in. It's essentially if they did this, which we have no proof of. We have claim after claim after claim with zero proof.
Because you won't let us look at the machine.
Jovan, how do you respond to that one?
The only river that's flowing is the river that flows from his left ear to his right ear and completely wipes his brain of logic. Please understand, you're asking a guy that could go to prison if he admits this. That's the first premise. You're asking the very guy who could go to jail, did this really happen? So let me step back and let me play it to you a few different ways. He says there's no modems on these machines and you can't hack if there's a modem. Did I just not a few minutes ago tell you how to hack it without a modem with just a piece of paper?
Yeah.
But that doesn't have to have a modem. Now, come on, folks. They're actually using smoke and mirrors. I don't like these smoke and mirrors. I think they're inappropriate. Dominion can say we have our machines are not connected to the internet. You know why they can say that? Because they're not their machines. They provide the software, the operating system, etc. They make you go buy the machine from somebody
There's
else.
more.
All right, now wait. Okay, just stop. Put the brakes on. All right. So my lightning fast mind is, wait a minute. You're saying that's not the Dominion. They don't have necessarily a box. It's just you put the software on your machine. You don't know what they have on their machine, correct?
Yes. And let me just give you
I
a
mean,
few
it's that
examples,
simple.
'cause
It's really that simple.
It's all smoke and mirrors. I'm sorry, it's all smoke and mirrors, and I'm calling it out. First off, they say these poll pads have no connectivity, or they connect just to look up names. Have you ever noticed when you go to a Starbucks and you sign up for Wi-Fi, or a hotel, you get free Wi-Fi? Have you ever read the EULA, which is the user license agreement you sign? They clearly state this is open for hacking. We cannot control it, but because
User
you can
agreement.
see the connection, you might get things stolen from you, and you have to sign your life away to say, I agree to that. Now, that's just a reversal of this. It means the building, which has an open system in it, and you're connecting to their Wi-Fi, can open it to your data, which is on your phone. We're only talking in reverse. It's not that hard to understand. Once you get inside a building's Wi-Fi, you just keep on hunting
wide
for
open,
other
dude.
things that are open.
People don't understand
this.
this.
In international foreign espionage, I can show you where bad actors have taken out an entire power plant, flattened it, blew it up with everybody sitting there just because they could go in through the connected thermostat.
Right.
There are many ways to hack this system that have nothing to do with Wi-Fi, but if you can see it, you can hack it.
It's good stuff here. I'll play this
Good
clip.
stuff.
Eric Coomer, who's the director of product and security for Dominion Voting. This is great. Watch.
What is the vehicle for the transmission from the ICP? Is it cellular?
Funny when
modem
people do a
versus
dancing bear
VPN?
routine.
Well, it is a cellular modem that can be configured in a VPN, right? And we currently in Chicago and Cook County, we work with Verizon to secure that network. So we would have the same capabilities here.
What wireless chipset / modem does the hardware have?
We support a variety. It's really up to the jurisdictions, what technology they want to use, what's compatible with their networks.
Currently, in some jurisdictions, we're using basically a modem that is a 3D modem, GSM, but we can support multiple varieties of modems that can be imported.
Including
Now, I'm not sure which one of these guys it is, but supposedly one of these guys is the guy that was there in Venezuela when they were using these things down in Venezuela.
Right.
And basically they were designed to steal that election or something like that. Now, I would rather you heard him say it but that's what I got from it. And the guy was very candid and said, yeah, the reason I could say this is because I was there.
including latest working standards.
So that answers the next question. Is it 3G or 4G? Verizon, AT&T, or Sprint? I'm assuming all.
Yeah, all networks. Right. Just
We
a
have
point of fact.
Skype.
Yeah, I mean, we actually transmit from the ICP in Mongolia as well, so we're not limited in networks.
And in Puerto Rico, there's 3 vendors because the island is not covered by any of the vendors completely. So we use 3 different cellular vendors for some ICPs with this vendor, Claro, AT&T, and T-Mobile, I think, in the different parts of the island.
You know, I just really love it when video just backs it all up. There they were with the Dominion Voting logo on the tablecloth saying, oh, yeah, we can connect all these different modems.
I can translate this for America. Ready?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? He's like
This guy's such a smart
broadcasting
ass.
to the world how it's done. But did you catch the smoke and mirrors? He said, well,
We work with.
the actual precincts can decide what hardware they want to use. And he acknowledges it open. He's screaming it. He actually says, and that's the smoke and mirrors when they say there, you can't connect to our machines. It's technically correct. It's not their machine. It's the precinct's machine. And if the precinct, which he said, he confirmed, you heard it. Well, if they have that in, they just configure it and it goes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
This dude, I like him because he's really pretty much fearless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what did I say? DGAF. I'm going to try to use that from now on in my new non-cursing
Good luck.
quest for not to use fuck like a curse word, comma in my everything I say. Hard for
You can do it.
hard for, yeah, we'll see. So that was a thing I wanted to follow up on this other thing about, is because they've directly linked that D company, you know which one I'm talking about, to the CCP. And so here's what you have to understand. Every single person in public service who is backing this theft up and is trying to help cover up this fraud, they know they can't cover it forever, but they just want to cover it long enough to get Biden in office and get Trump out.
Right.
They're not doing it because they love America. You know what I mean? These Democrats and these Republicans and the deep state diplomats, you know, from the diplomatic service that I told you about, they're not doing this because they're, you know, because we're protecting America, because we're concerned about you, you know. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it to allow a subversion of our political system. This is nothing but malintent, is what I'm saying. So, all of these media outfits that are you know helping to propagate this you know this concerted effort to overthrow our country, because that's what this is. This is an insurrection. That's what this is. And I know this is going to, you know, not make anybody feel any better than they have in the last couple of days, but we need to start with the facts. And, you know, what we used to do is we would respond to the emergency, do our jobs, and then go home and fall apart after the war, you know, after we won the war. We'd lose some people, and that's terrible. And we'd have to go through that grief therapy, but it's so freaking important, man. It's so important that we, you know, that we at least make sure it's known that we're not stupid. We know what they did. We know you did it. And even if you win, we still win because we know what you did. And the thing now is, are we going to take this sitting down, or are we just going to bend over and take it in the ass for the deep state, and as they sort of convert this into a one-party communitarianism, you know, society where the individual is even going to be more oppressed? Because that's what it's all about, dude. It's going to be about 100% oppression.
Slavery.
It's all about oppression. It's been about that for a long time. That slavery is such a trigger word, but it's true. It's a mental slavery. Zappa used to say that you know the illusion of freedom currently will continue until it's not financially beneficial anymore, and then they're going to pull the table and the curtains and the chairs out of the way, and you're going to see the brick wall at the back of the club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so understand what he was getting at, and he said that in the 80s, in the 70s or the 80s. I mean, you know, I'd love to just sit here and play Frank Zappa interviews all night. The guy was absolutely brilliant. You know, he testified at the at Congress. Remember I told you porn wars? He testified in front of Congress and had Tipper Gore trying to get at him. And he sat Tipper Gore down and just gave her a reaming. I mean, so for next thing I want to talk about is Jimmy Dore, who I adore. I love this guy. So even when he's wrong, he's okay with me. And he's wrong often because he's one of those people that just couldn't give the orange man, a compliment. This guy, he'll tell the truth though. He's been telling a lot of the truth about Trump, and even when he goes to smear Trump, it's really not. It's like, Jimmy, come on, that's ridiculous, stupid, Jimmy. But for the most part, I mean, I just love Jimmy Dore, man. He's if and he's pretty much won me over to the Medicare for all. I think. I mean, we already have a system that would see patients and they write off the losses. But I think after all is said and done, if we could avoid going socialist, we could do a socialized medicine, and every single American citizen, legal American citizen, would have a basic level of care. There's nothing wrong with that. And with the people that disagree, it's you got to compromise. It can't all be one way, because that's how they keep us. That's how we stay like this. That's how we got here, is the shim sham bullshit artist version of what they want to call compromise. And we never really get what we need, because they can just keep it up in the air like it's a volleyball. Like they're just hitting the ball back and forth, and no one ever scores a point. You know what I mean?
Right.
On these type of issues. So I think Jimmy Dore has won me over, in a sense, that the amount of money it would cost to have Medicare for all would be cheap if the government wasn't running it. If the government runs it, it's just going to be, if there's a way to corrupt it and exploit it and literally rape it, they will. So I don't think they should be running Medicare. They should have never been able to touch Social Security. How does the nation borrow against our Social Security? Who in the fuck came up with that?
Yeah.
And how did they vote this in them for themselves? Because all they did was, it's the same as Hoffa with the unions. He organized the unions. That money became so powerful that it could elect presidents. And that's what happened. It helped elect more than one president. So when you have power like that, people are going to want a piece of it. They're going to come in. They're going to come in for you. They want that money. These guys did the same thing. How they, we should do a story on that sometime. How were they able to open up the Social Security piggy bank and just stick, in there? Yeah, almost. Okay, so I want to talk about, like, when the Young Turks came out. You know who the Young Turks are? That news thing. I don't even want to say this guy's name, because really, I just want to punch him in the face. He's so stupid, and I shouldn't say that, but I don't care. It makes me just want to punch him in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where, look, I don't think I could talk to this guy. He is so stupid and so, trained as like a parrot, that I don't even know if he knows what he believes in, because he gets caught looking like an idiot all the time. So Jimmy Dore is going to rip him a new asshole here, and then punches when it comes to language either. So, Mom, I hope, don't blame it on me, Mom.
This is not a strategy disagreement. Everybody agrees with hashtag force the vote. The people who are against it, it's inexplicable, and you're not supposed to question their motives. I question their motives. Jen Cougar's on the take.
It's not a partisan
he's
issue.
Working for the Democratic Party, and he's working for
what Jimmy's saying here is that forced to vote means whoever you're voting for. Is that forced to vote means whoever you're voting for, you need to hold them. You need to hold them accountable. And this is what I've been saying since I met you.
Right.
You have to look at your own party and root out the corruption from there. Every moron on earth doesn't look at their party. They're looking over the fence at who they're trying to throw mud at. And that's how the Democratic Party, has become one of the most despotic criminal enterprises on earth. And what I mean by criminal enterprise. I'm talking about some of the stupidest criminals you have ever seen in your life. They're not used to being held accountable. So when they try to commit these crimes, even the murder of Seth Rich, man, they used a couple of MS-13 guys, and then the guy who recruited them killed the MS-13 guys. They got the thumb drive from him, and yet they left a trail like it was almost like somebody had a New Year's party, or they left a trail of confetti. They're not smart. They're not smart criminals, put it that way. Man, I'm just like, I'm so fired up right now.
corporate donors, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Buddy Roemer, right-wingers. He's against Julian Assange. He's a total fucking corporate sellout. That just happened right in front of your fucking face. And he came out something we're all on board for. And you want to know how I know we're all on board for it? Because Cenk Uygur was for it too when it first came out. Jimmy is making a constructive effort to actually get vote on Medicare for all and unite progressives despite our differences. I love that. If you think this is a perfect way to do it, you have to agree we all have to push progressive legislators to get this introduced.
I love watching Jimmy Dore because he does the way he does it. He covers it, and he's a comedian too. So
53% of Americans
He
want
just doesn't
Medicare
give
for
a
all,
fuck.
even after overwhelming propaganda by national media, Republicans and Democrat leadership against it. 87% of Democrat voters want it, and Democrats won't even vote on it.
Yep.
Anyone who tells you Medicare for all is unpopular is an unmitigated liar. So that's how it started. Look at that, December 7th. That's how it started. Cenk Uygur's all on board. Hashtag force the vote. He's all for it. This is great. We got to get a vote on it. Democrat voters want it, and Democrats won't even vote on it.
Yep.
That's
See,
what we're
here's the
saying.
thing.
That's what he's saying. That's what the squad was saying. That's what AOC was saying. That's what the DSA was
The
saying.
politicians have a way of keeping us polarized. Like, I mean, I think AOC's a moron, right? But it's not like everything she says is well, yeah, pretty much everything she says is pretty moronic. But some of the stuff she stands for is not like a Democrat thing. It's a human thing. You know, people should not be dying in the streets or starving and stuff like that. We, as independents, we don't, anyone who stands for freedom is knows that we have a moral obligation to help each other. That moral obligation is a strong sense of service, a strong sense of community and stuff. So we're not going to let people die in the streets. We just won't let that happen. Where that happens is because politicians are involved. They're involved in managing most of the society now. They've crept into every area of society. They've crept into the marriage business, into the abortion business. They're crept into education. I mean, people, don't you see where the problem is? Everything these people touch turns into a big lump of dog shit. You know what I mean?
No,
and even a Democrat, should be able to agree on that. I got these people, man. The people that are online. There's no fraud in the election. There's people that you can tell just completely follow the doctrine all the way down the line. And I'm sorry to say this, but those people must not have much in the way of scruples or integrity, because how can you, that would be like being Jeffrey Dahmer's, public relations person. He's not such a bad guy, at least he left the guy's face so his family could ID him, or I don't know, I'm just reaching there. That's just kind of a very morose statement, but that's exactly what it is. It's like they want to debate against you because they just, no matter how despotic, no matter how crooked and criminal and thieving and that the party gets, they still come up with an excuse to support these people. And see, the part where they can't really keep me in that conflict is the part where they accuse me of being, a Republican, because I mean,
they did do that.
Huh?
They did do that.
To me?
Accuse you of being a Republican.
Oh yeah, often. But they weren't around in 2009, They weren't around in 2000, 2001. They weren't around in 1995. When I was relentlessly going after them on the bulletin boards. When I found out there was I don't know if you ever knew this or not, but there were suitcase nukes. You know what a suitcase nuke is?
Suitcase Nick?
A suitcase nuke.
Oh yeah. The football,
No, the football is the button that the president carries for communicating and for unlocking launch. A suitcase nuke is and they're actually called dirty bombs as well, because they're small nuclear devices, and they're made with usually with fuel, with spent fuel. But some of them have been made with hydrogen for fission. For a fission event.
Right.
So it starts out with a fusion. I mean, I'm sorry, I said it backwards. Damn it. It starts out with fission, but it's made for a fusion event. You need fission in order to press the hydrogen at that pressure to make it go unstable. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the bottom line is what they made these fusion weapons for is because they don't cause quite as much physical damage to infrastructure. I mean, you're still going to have to roto-rooter it all and replace it, but it primarily only kills biological organisms,
Right.
and electrical devices, of course. So within a mile of your explosion, you're going to have everything, within however close to the blast zone. Everything that's alive is dead. Please don't walk on that interface, honey. Please. She's all over my. Is it messing it up? No, just stay right in one place. Okay, so going from the bomb will only kill the people in the blast zone, and then for about 200 miles out, or whatever, however far, depending on the device, it's going to just kill everything that lives. It's going to wipe the blast zone clean, So anyway, going back to this thing where we're at right now, we've kind of strayed from the topic. I'm sorry, but they've known about all this stuff forever, and the fact is that when you're going to protect people over partisan subscriptions, like if you subscribe as a Democrat, and it doesn't matter what they do, you're still gonna, it's okay. It's my son, that type of, come on, that type of situational ethics, I'll call it, is just evil. It's evil. You become the evil you're protecting. If you're protecting evil for any reason at all, for whatever reason, because their whole thing is ends justify the means, they're protecting some of the most evil people on earth. I mean, the pedophilia. You know how many people Trump has his administration, when they made that one of their main goals, they have made tens of thousands of arrests worldwide. They've busted rings worldwide, and I have some of that documentation. Remember, we said we would get to it.
Right.
We should start pulling it out tonight. I know right where to find it. I tuck it away. I took all this stuff away so I can go back and get it. I don't trust the internet anymore. They scrub it. They change it. I showed you that thing about Trump's lawsuit back in '73. Yeah. What if we couldn't get a hold of that document? We would still have doubt. Oh yeah, he's a racist.
Yeah.
These people are some of the most. I mean, the bear false witness. They're doing everything Jesus said not to do. These guys took the manual. What are you doing? Took the manual and turned it upside down, and just attacked everything good about the world. How can you support something like that? What thought in your head would help you support that? Anyway, I'm moving around a lot. This was going back to Jimmy and what he was saying about a lot of the people that are in the mainstream right now. And I wanted to start at Medicare for All because he actually converted me. Like I used to be, I don't know, man. I still don't think government should run it. I still think it should be a commission of our peers, not somebody who raises money to buy a position in politics. It should be dudes like you and me and women and dudes and women and men, like just regular people. I mean, of course, it might help that they have management skills, but what management skills does a politician have? I mean, they can't even manage their own lives. They can't keep their dick in their pants. So why would we want to continually do the same thing and come up and think we're going to come up with different results? Every time we trust these people to manage something, they take a shit right in the middle of it. How do we keep trusting them? Right? What do you think? Don't you agree? You don't agree? You do agree. So anyway, I wanted to because I also like Jim, but the Medicare for All thing with that. So anyway, and this is what I'm talking about with regard to the media, though, because it all connects together. It might seem like it's a little loose, but in my brain, I've got all the connections wired. So I guess Senk or whatever his name, Sent Uyghur from the Young, and the Young Turks are constantly caught, kowtowing or pulling, towing the line for the establishment, let's call them, because that term has been out of favor for a long time. So when you say the establishment, people think you're old or something, but it's true. It's the establishment. It's the military industrial complex. So we're jumping around a little bit. So here's the thing. Sank at the Young Turks. They're trying to. I've been moving a little bit to this spot. Let's hear, which I freaking love.
Today they had 6,000. He's supposed to have 5 million subscribers. I don't believe they do. Because if they do, and they're getting 6,000 people on their live stream, they lost the plot, didn't they? Yes, they did, and there it is. So they keep lying about this, just like corporate media does now, because they're corporate media.
Yep.
So they keep lying about this in the pettiest, most transparent way. They keep telling people that they're going to risk giving the speakership to the Republicans.
These media outlets that like come on at sort of and act all grassroots and stuff. The only one that I've seen stay consistent has been the Epic Times. Right. You know, they own NTD, and there's a few of them, but not many. I mean, there's a couple of independents that came on strong before the election, because I think we all knew that we needed to, you know, stand up on this one, because otherwise we wouldn't have exposed them so blatantly. I mean, we know what was wrong. We know what they did. They even telegraphed their punches. I mean, the whole states changing the election laws and no voter ID and all this. It's terrible. They were asking Republicans for their IDs though, and telling them they couldn't vote and stuff. Anyway, we'll get to that. There's a lot of stuff.
That's not it. There's no chance of that happening. That's to keep
it gets a little dramatic.
For Medicare for all. I think they're doing it because they're on the take, and they have a manager inside the Democratic Party along with Katzenberg. That's why I think. And plus, I was told they had to move towards the center, and this is part of it.
Get the gist, and like I said, we don't really have. I'll put the link in the description, and you guys can check it out. I really got to take everything until you start exposing that. I want to know what you know about that first, since we're at in research, man. You know, so I didn't say anything for the first 2 days. Remember, I said, "Wait, right. I can't comment on that."
I'm still kind of processing it, man. I pray that it goes the right way, but man, I'm losing a little faith as far as things turning out the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I want everything to go good, and everybody knows what it's supposed to be, but then it's an atrocity, and none of that, and just going along with a false.
Yeah,
story.
It's like business as usual.
Yeah, like, hey,
there's nothing to see here. There's no what fraud.
Yeah,
there's
we win.
And they keep saying it's been debunked, and they keep saying there's no evidence, and some people believe it. They actually believe that, dude.
They say it.
One of my skate buddies comes on the page all the time to ridicule what I say. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like I just go find this stuff and put it up there. I go back, 3 or 4 layers to make sure that it's not something that, because it's not that hard to recognize propaganda. Mm-hmm. Propaganda usually has no base. You can follow it and it'll go nowhere. Right. But the real, reality is where when you follow a story and you'll get to something, you'll find something that supports, one way or the other, the truth. You know what I mean?
Well, being a truth seeker,
it's just like not us. And they're screaming Antifa. That's who that is. That must be Antifa. It was a total setup, dude. So, but you know what they used it for was locked out. They stand 11 could get in. Right. More than 11 came in anyway. And Ted Bible put, and I have solutions to do that. I want you to hear me out. The first thing we need to do, since Twitter and Facebook, it's not a question of just the Republicans. It's the Democrat Party has been it's almost like the party of, I don't know, man. System has not existed for a long time. And we'll go back to that. We're going to do a lot of talking about history here, about some of these, what some assholes would call conspiracy theories. I mean, if they're conspiracy theories and they end up being true, what does that mean? You know what I mean? They're not conspiracy facts anymore, because most of the time They allow the truth to come out after the fact long enough. They run out the clock, and these people never face the music. And we have to change that. But the first thing I want to do is I think we should all just make a slow, methodical exodus from Facebook, from Twitter, and we should start taking it upon ourselves to freely take the obligation to use the alternatives as much as possible. I mean, it wasn't that difficult for us to get a web page. You know, it wasn't very expensive. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've done in the past 3 months that was way more expensive than that. Okay. And it's not that hard to do. You know, you use Trellis or whatever, anything. Gino likes to do things his way, but, and he's an excellent programmer, but, this is not, you know, it's not that hard to do. What I think we should remove their power by removing their money. And I would start with Twitter and Facebook first. And then we need to have a talk. We can get more and more people involved in meeting together and give everybody a voice. It's hard because it'll take a little bit of patience. I might rant on for 5 minutes and then I might not get to talk for 2 hours. I have to be willing to listen for 2 hours to get my 5 minutes of speaking. That's just human nature. You know, we don't tolerate politicians that are the very essence of moral turpitude. I mean, why do we continually trust despotic, pathological liars and psychotic lunatics to have these positions of power? It's insane. We can do something about that now. Like I said, take down these technocracies. We don't need the government to declare them monopolies. We know they are. And
Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Did you read the post he put up?
Yeah.
Disrespectful motherfucker. You know, he's a silver spoon little cunt,
right,
from Harvard or whatever it is. And I don't believe, he stole he was involved with the guys that started it, but what he did was he saw what was going on. He stole it from his roommates. Mm-hmm. And obviously they must have recruited him for intel because of the fact that the CIA or some other faction of the government, I believe it was the CIA, invested billions in getting Facebook set up. And you know what Facebook is? You know what a Facebook is?
Yeah.
A Facebook is the book that they show you when you're at the police station. When someone's committed a crime and they want you to, they put some faces in front of you. That Facebook is the people that are wanted and people that have done, that have records of crime and stuff like that. Look into it if you don't believe me. But that's the truth, and that's what they used to call a Facebook in the analog world. So this was never meant to be anything but an intelligence gathering tool for them.
That's all they do.
And the attraction was they said, hey, connect with your friends and stuff. And I knew right from the beginning. I said, you know what I said? I said, oh yeah, I took every photo I've ever had, everything I ever had, and I threw it on my profile. It's like, you want to know, you want information about here? Here's it all. Here's
everything.
Here's everything, mofos. And I'd love to see them sitting down and going through 10,000 pictures, which is, I think, what I'm up to at this point.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about anybody. I'm talking about the people who gather the information, and they sell our information. I mean, constantly. That just the agreement, the what you call it, user agreement. Mm-hmm. It's these people. I mean, it's the most purest form of evil is what's going on in this world right now. But don't be discouraged, man. You can't, in any great struggle, you cannot give up. You cannot do what they want you to do, which is squabble with each other all the time and stuff. If you can't agree on the main issues and topics, then the person that you're arguing with is not. If you can't just agree with anything or give, I've never heard. I can count on two fingers the people that I've seen on the left that gave Trump a compliment or gave him credit for anything this guy's done. And he has done an amazing body of work in 4 years. Amazing, dude. I mean, do you know what he's done for us? Have you been hip to, following it and stuff? I mean, never mind the smashing the pedophilia rings worldwide. He had to, I know I sent you the article where, the district attorney tells the truth about Trump and stuff and says, yeah, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have got Epstein. Trump was the only person,
Yeah.
What does that say about Trump? What does that say about that? This guy's like, yeah, if it wasn't for him calling me, he called me and said, what's on your mind? I'll tell you anything you want to know. Mm-hmm. And then there's the rest of that story. I mean, what he's done even from before he got into office to what he's done today. The only way that you can try to wipe out some of this stuff is to go non sequitur, to completely negate the truth. I mean, what positive things has he done? He ran on his promises, and he intended to keep them all. The jury's still out on how effective he was, but I'm just shocked that he got as much stuff as he got done. I mean, he economy, on all people, but especially minorities. There's never been more jobs than there are people.
First time in the history of America.
I don't know if it is or not, but it sure. I mean, sorry. Yeah, first, if it is, that's awesome. And, well, let's just put it this way. If at all, it's the first time in a long time, right? He gave us a great economy for all people in the country. Now the basic rank and file lefties and globalists and stuff, they were instrumental in helping to try to smash his 4 years. He gave us a great economy for all the people. He ran on secure borders. He did it. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Law and order. He gave us tax breaks for the regular people, which amounted between $2,000 and $3,000 a year. He gave us prison and criminal and justice reform. Justice reform alone, dude, is the best thing to ever happen to us minorities. So many wins. He got rid of the individual mandate. He put up opportunity zones, which are an amazing thing in themselves. He acted to honor African Americans and other minorities that other presidents had to do and never did, like Martin Luther King's house or something. I can't remember now, but there's a lot of stuff. I can't even think of the list right now. He did a lot. Put it this way: he was there every day for no pay, and he fought for us every day. And man, if you hate him, I can't understand how it's almost a delusion. That's why they call it Trump's delusion. It's to assign this much blame to one 4-year president and not be able to go back 30 years and see what these morons have done, starting from when Reagan handed it to Bush, and then Bush ran with it, and that was wide open, man. That was Wild West. Started wars everywhere, and then came back and 9/11. So these people are just they've got a very skewed vision of reality, and they find a way to blame all this stuff on Trump, but they just have
a lesser reported
exactly
incident.
Very good. That's why you're my dude, man.
I paid attention to.
So you guys have to look into what you're talking about here. Don't just take the headlines and read the taglines and think you got the fighting away at it, because I'm not letting this go, man. We cannot let this go. There's no way. So I guess we're going to kind of talk Pulitzer and catch the Jimmy Dore show and tell him, well, when honesty stands out, it still stands out. It may not be popular, But when you're honest and to the point and don't give a fuck, well, that's good, because you're going to be, it's apparent. And so anybody who's comes into government now, we expect them to do everything in the daylight. I mean, so we're going to talk more about these bans, desertions or whatever, but not tonight. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. That's Tony 10 Minute Tatum is my sidekick, my co-host, 10 Minute Tony. And yeah, tell them what's on your mind. What I don't think I gave you enough time to sort of expand on some. Do you have any news articles that?
Nothing that's more relevant than what you've been talking about, man.
Yeah, but we can go through. Well, we can go through them, and we can also, I mean, we're supposed to do this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We were going to do this show, the Reek of Stench, but right now we've got so much going on that we got to be able to just go on and do a stream whenever we have enough to do it. And I have a whole show, notes to thing that we could go on and do, and it'll be another show. So we'll do it tomorrow night. Just always look for our notifications around 11 o'clock or 11:30, and that'll tell you that we're going to go on at midnight. And just check, and if we're there, then we'll be going on. And if we're not there, catch us on a Monday or Wednesday or Friday. But I really think we should do a weekend thing. I mean, Black Conservative Patriot, who I love, this guy, he reminds me of my kind of geeky uncle David. He's so campy, but he's a beautiful dude. Him and his family are total American patriots, and he gets dramatic sometimes, But nobody can beat a dead horse like Bongino can.
I did want to mention, I saw you got your memos today.
Oh, which ones?
The ones there on the board.
Oh, yeah, our memos. These are the memos. So, and then this is what we're talking. This is a system of oppression. That's what's happened. That is going to basically never went home. I'm more of a recluse. I like to stay home unless you got something that's worth doing, or unless it's involving music. But other than that, I mean, everybody else is home. Sheltered in place is what they call them, and they act like this is a bomb or something. It's just ridiculous, man. It's just
I always
ridiculous.
thought they would do that, like some point in the future where the media had people worried about, something like the sky is falling, everybody stay home, and just so that they'd have that free access to act as if no one else lived in the world.
Right. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? So I'm glad we brought that up. People, just hang on to yourselves. Don't become so distraught. Don't let that negativity last. And the best way to do that is by not becoming too attached to it. Experience your grief. We're all in grief right now. Those of us who realize what's happening to us, it's scary, but don't be afraid. And who do you put your trust in times of trial and tribulation? And who do you place your faith? Answer that question for yourself. And if you answer, I place my faith in God, then your faith is well founded. And you should go forward and fear no evil. And you should be brave enough to live your life every day like it's your last. And that's just one part of it. And the other part of it is we won't win if we stay home and afraid. We need to be involved and participate. And that's why I'm asking you people to participate. You guys need to come in and dial into this show, call us, email us, call us, send us messages. I mean, we want you to come on this show. That's why we've got 3 or 4 different systems set up to receive people coming in, including the phone. You can just call on the phone if you don't have Skype. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you have to say. And a really complete asshole to me, for me to turn this biting scrutiny and sarcastic, whatever you want to call it, that I do. You know, I'm not going to rant at you because it's not going to do any good. I've got ideas on how we can, you know, at least put up resistance. I mean, come on. You know, we're Americans, man. We're not wussies. I mean, we're not, even if you're afraid, you have to stand up. If not, well, I'm just going to read this before we go. It's a quote by Sam Adams. Encountered a man being whipped publicly for and out right out in public. And what happened was this guy was being grievously wounded, and Sam Adams inquired. He says, what was this guy's, you know, what was his crime? And you know what his crime was? Preaching without a license. Preaching without a license was his crime. The guy later died from his injuries. And what happened was Patrick Henry, Samuel Adams never forgot it. He went on through his whole life remembering that. So when it came time for him to make a speech in the halls of Congress, you know, this guy remembered what happened to this man over lack of having a license to preach. A pastor. He was a pastor, by the way. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
He was a pastor. And he was beat to death. He was flogged to death. Wow. There's a
beaten and then later died.
He was beaten so severely that he later died of his injuries. What do you think of that?
I'm glad I don't live back then.
You're glad you didn't live in that time, you're saying?
Right, yes.
In other words, you would have preached anyway. This guy didn't. He refused to take the license.
Right.
So they eventually, they used him. They made an example of him. So, and now we live in a time where you can't even catch a fish. You can't catch a fish without a license.
Yeah.
You can't catch a fish anywhere on the continent without a license, unless I guess even if you own the lake. I don't know.
No, private property is different.
Are you sure?
Here in Georgia, it's private lakes. You don't have to have a license now. You just pay the fee to the owner. Fee to fish per pond if it's a private pay lake.
Wow.
You're still getting
what I mean?
taxed.
Wow. That it just blows my mind that you need a license for everything now. You need a license to drive a car. You need a license for everything, and that's that goes along. That is oppression. If you want to talk about oppression, that's oppression, and it oppresses everybody. And in some ways, it oppresses minorities more than it oppresses the average white person. But it oppresses everybody. It's not just it's not against minorities. It's just that sometimes people that are poorer, and sometimes they're minorities, they don't have as much of an opportunity to overcome those obstacles to get to what they want. That's not racism. That's just, it is the way it is. Time and fortune happen to all men, but that doesn't, I can blow that theory out of the water by just showing you how many men of color and Spanish people and black people we have. I mean, when we're raised in a family or in a household that disregards that bullshit and doesn't live as a victim, we have achieved some amazing things, and that's why I love hanging out with Larry Williams and Judge Brown. I love hanging out on Twitter with Judge Brown because he's a badass, man. He says what's on his mind, and I love that he had given me some recognition the other day. He's I guess that my answer to his tweet has gotten millions of whatevers. I just said that they're the worst criminals on earth. That these people, they're not good criminals. So we shouldn't be surprised. It's part of the dumbing down.
Mm-hmm.
But love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom. Go home from this place. Go home from us in peace, is what he said. We ask not your counsel or your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. Give a fuck if you're going to fight. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight to keep our republic. You know what I mean? You can stay home and afraid if you want, but this COVID thing, the whole thing going back 4 or 5 years now, this has all been an op, a multi-leveled op. And I'm sorry if that blows your mind, if you can't accept it, just hang in there with us, because we're going to talk about every little bit of where we got the information that we're talking about. We're not just making this shit up. Nobody's making up that thing about the election being a fraud. It is a fraud. Think about what you've seen. Have you seen anything like this? Have you ever seen an election night, our national election, our presidential election, where there wasn't a winner at the end of the night, even if it's 4 a.m? People used to stay up. They used to have parties to that's a democratic republic. What they did is they shut the party down because they weren't getting the results they wanted. So then they went, and that's where the results came in the back door.
Right.
There's nothing I can do about that. But I can control my fear, and so can you. What do you think, man?
The peaceful transition of one party to the next is what this country's done for over 200 years. And now we have information to say that maybe that's not how it should be.
If we're not willing to do that, then I don't really know. I just don't know, man. If you can't pick where you buy something and stick to that, and endure whatever difficulty may come from your shopping decisions or whatever, how are you going to fight out in the middle of the street when an insurrection is coming? You know what I mean? I don't really get it. We have got to talk about this stuff. That's why we exist. We have got to talk about this. We cannot just sit home and log into Facebook every night in those little freaking boxes and try to say what we want to say and expect to be shut down and expect mommy and daddy, uncle, big brother, to come along and
bail us out.
No, man, to come along and shut us up, tell us to shut up. Even if you disagree with me, I still believe that you have the right to say what you want to say. And it all started with, oh, wait, no, you don't have a right to say what you want to say and if it's in a theater and you yell fire. And you know what? That seemed reasonable at the time. Now, I think people should just not be so stupid as to not be able to notice it and trample each other to death, because that's what happened. There was one instance where somebody yelled fire in a crowded theater. There was no fire. People got trampled to death. And now there's a law that says you can't yell fire in a movie theater. Seems reasonable, right? But the problem is that's where it all started. And this was back in, Franklin's day. Franklin invented the fire department. He invented the fire department. He invented insurance. I don't know whose bright idea it was to start, censoring people or make it against the law to say something. I think people who don't know how to circumvent themselves and do some of this stuff that some people do, that we say that should be illegal, well,
illegal.
Look where we're at now. We're really getting, when you talk about, when you talk about necessity, okay, it's necessary. It's necessary, you know. What you're saying is that even though you're a fan of freedom and liberty, okay, what you're saying is that this should be an exception, and from that one exception, don't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. From that one exception, we have arrived where we are now, where we cannot speak our minds and tell our opinions on national. We need to move to alternative social media, and we need to start solving these problems. And I mean, as soon as possible. We don't have a lot of time. I mean, let's just say I don't want to put too much, apprehension in the mix here, but what I am saying is that we've got to start speaking out now. You know what I mean? If we don't, just like what William Pitt the Younger said, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants, and it is the creed of slaves. So when you have closed circuit cameras pointing practically up your rectum, you should be telling them, what are you looking at? What's your problem? I thought you were worried about the criminals. Why are you pointing it at the populace? And I get the use for cameras and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm against all cameras and stuff. What I am saying is, where does it stop? Because we have put them in charge. Remember what I told you, the most powerful authority in the land is a jury of Americans. There is no what to think. Don't forget, because I want to talk about that more at some point. But anyway, we've been on so long, I think I put them to sleep by now. If there's anything here you would like to expand on, or anything you'd like to add, contact us. Put it in the comments, or call us and come on the show, or I'll even promise to curse less if you come on the show. I'm working on it. I'm passionate, and I'm angry. I've been following this for a long time, man. I put a lot of time into it. I spent a lot of years in Florida, sort of exiled from my family, and I had already started doing this research back in like '95 when we had the internet. '94, maybe even earlier. I think it was before Thomas was born. But I guess what I'm trying to say, without going off on a tangent here, is that I've been following this long before the internet. Even when the internet came, I beat it up, man. I went after it. I learned a lot, and some of the stuff I learned was not true, and some of the stuff I learned was true. So I want to put that information to use, and in order to do that, I need you. I can't just sit here and rant at poor Tony. Tony's not real deep into this subject, but he's very observant, and he's a worthy co-host. But we need you to truly get in here and discuss this stuff. We need to know what you know and what you don't know, and give us a chance to not only discuss stuff with you that you might not know, but give us a chance to produce the documentation that will explain where we got it from and stuff. Because I mean, there's a thousand topics right off the top that we could discuss. And if we were here 10 years, we'd still have something to talk about. So the time is now. And I want you guys to think about that Facebook and Twitter thing I talked about. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go on Facebook. But I'm little by little, I'm pulling all my photos, everything that I don't have copies of, that I've lost maybe since 2000. When did I do? 2008, I think I went in. 2007 or 2008 was when I started Facebook. It was like the day it came out, because I'm not gonna lay down. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm too old. First of all, I'm too old to be afraid of them. I've been through too much shit to be afraid of a bunch of punks. So,
amen.
I've been through way too much shit. I'm not afraid. As a matter of fact, I got to be honest with you. I just say, let's get it on. Let's get this shit over with. Let's take back Washington, and we don't have to do it with the guns. but you're going to be oppressed, and they're going to come at. Think about it, dude. Think about what went on in the past 4 years. What they were throwing at this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Russia collusion, and I'm pissed, man. Look at Seth Rich. Seth Rich was executed for trying to do the right thing. I mean, he was doing it for President Trump. You should pardon Julian Assange immediately. Don't let the end of your, if these guys are successful in stealing the presidency, please pardon Assange. Let him out of there. Get him out of there. That guy does not deserve to be tortured and killed. And he's been tortured. And we know that. So please, President Trump, come on, man. You're from the Queens and Brooklyn. Coming from the Bronx, I want to ask you, please, sir, pardon Julian Assange. He deserves the Medal of Freedom. If anything, he deserves the Congressional Medal of Freedom. He doesn't deserve to be stuffed in a prison cell.
I'm afraid. X-ray Delta 1, this is Mission Control. Roger, you're 2013.
Go with throttle up.
Sorry, you fellas are having a bit of trouble. We are reviewing telemetric information in our mission simulator and will advise. This is Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed. Jesus H. Christ. Houston. We're on the fucking moon. Over. Roger, Tranquility. We copy that. We cannot believe you are on the fucking moon. Repeat, cannot fucking believe.